All right, let's do this.
Welcome first-time listeners and returners to the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table, especially our next incredible guest, who joins us today to talk about the intersection between race and sports, mental health, leadership, equality, social injustice, and white privilege. So grab your favorite deli sandwich or bagel and your favorite beverage, and let's do this together in the Sports Deli. Welcome to the Sports Deli, along with Dr. J and Coach K. I'm your host, Hootie Hoot, and we now are joined by our very special guest this week, Mike Sweetney from PG County. He's a married man, a father of three from Oxon Hill High School, proudly from PG County. Later played at Georgetown for 3 years and drafted in the NBA by the New York Knicks. Later played for the Bulls, and we'll talk about his 2-year hiatus in a little while from basketball before he went overseas for 9 years and played for 11 different club teams and started in China, ended in Uruguay. He's now an assistant coach at a D3 powerhouse, Yeshiva University in New York. And in your words, had the pandemic not hit after you made it to the Sweet 16, you thought you had a chance to win the national title at Yeshiva. And you're also the girls varsity coach at New York's Ramaz School. And you're also a speaker about mental health. And we're so glad that you're here and can't wait to hear all about your story and, you know, some of the ups and downs that you have been through. And now you're a motivational speaker and sharing, you know, your experiences with the world and paying it forward. So welcome.
Thank you. That's probably the best introduction that I've had, like, as far as from start to bottom. Like, I like that.
I was wondering how you have time to be on a podcast with that set of credentials.
I agree.
Well, we're grateful that you're here.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm a little partial to part of your story. You know, obviously, you know Tamir Goodman really well, the Jewish Jordan, and you know, you've gone to Israel and spent some time with Tamir, and you weren't able to do that this year just because of the pandemic, and he had to cancel his camps. But you know, I reached out to Tamir and you know, asked him about you, and you know, he said you're just an amazing person, and I just thought you'd be somebody who would be able to share some unbelievable stories and on and off the hardwood that would resonate with people from adults to kids. And I just think there's so many things that are to be admired about your story. And, you know, my father committed suicide when I was 9. And so that's obviously a subject that's close to my heart. And, you know, I definitely want to get to that a little bit later. But the first thing I want to ask you is on a separate note, what's your relationship with Spike Lee?
I don't really know him that well. I met him a handful of times when I played with the Knicks. You know, a couple of times I met him. He was, you know, cool, very passionate Knicks fan. Like, he lives and breathes like the New York Knicks. So I would say he was just a very supportive guy. Like, you know, he pays attention to the game of basketball, but we probably had about maybe 3 or 4 conversations that were like short. So I don't really, you know, say I know him as a friend, but we've had some crossings. But you know, for the times I met him, he was, you know, was a cool guy.
That's awesome. I was going to follow up with if he ever chewed you out or anything like that. Did he ever
now, Mike? Hey, Mike, can you during the game? Can you hear people who are seated courtside? I know Reggie can hear people, but can everybody really hear him?
Yeah, of course. Like, especially if somebody's saying something that really gets your interest, of course you pay attention to it. But you know, a lot of times there's so much going on. But when somebody's saying something that really interests you, like, you know, they talk about your mom or say something about your game, and you kind of like, okay, who's that talking? You want to see who it is and get it, you know, catch some eye contact. Say, yeah, I hear you. So, but yeah, you definitely can hear it.
Well, Spike doesn't go unnoticed, that's for sure. His courtside persona and presence is, I think, probably legendary at this point.
Oh yeah, he's called to Knicks some games just by him. You know, he's a good fan, but sometimes he talks too much and get guys going. So,
so how did it feel for Kevin Durant to put you on his all-time PG County team as a starting center? And John, I know, mentioned to me off the air that he's watched the documentary, the documentary Basketball County in the Water about PG County and all the top players from that area. You know, how did it feel?
That honestly, that meant a lot. Like for me, college expect, Kevin Durant at some point when it's all said and done, he will be a Hall of Famer. So having a guy that, is, Hall of Famer and can go down as one of the best scorers of all time in NBA, for him to, pretty much, I guess, know who I am a little bit and have that much respect to say, hey, I'm not, because I wasn't his era, I'm older than him. So for him to say, hey, somebody else from another era, I got respect for him, I would take him on my team. And we have some very talented guys that come from my area, as you see from the documentary. So for him, that means a lot to me. Of course, me personally, not being cocky, I do think I'm the best big man to come out of that area. But, right. So for him to say that, I feel better, getting that validation. But, so it was an amazing feeling, especially, a guy that's, has amazing credentials. And then, so that made me proud. Something I can tell my kids.
Now, Mike, you should know that John is from Kensington. So he didn't just throw that map up. For those of you who can't see it, he's got a whole map of the D.C. area behind him as his background. So you just beware that he's kind of from the neighborhood.
From the 301, baby.
Awesome. Yes, I love it. My guy.
Had no game whatsoever. I would go see you play, but I was the guy at the McDonough gym in the summer league with my hot dog watching you in the summer league games, paying $5 and staying for 6 games. The best talent. Those were the best. The McDonough Summer League, most underrated summer league. $5 gets you in. You stay the whole time, and you could see D3 guys, NBA guys, D1 guys, and it was unbelievable.
I think for that, man, that's when I first saw Steve Francis play there. This is before, he went to Maryland.
Right.
And they was like, this guy's going to Maryland next year. And I was like, who? It's like Steve Francis. I was like, who's Steve Francis? And then about a couple minutes to the game, I was like, oh, okay. So he was, amazing. So those games, seeing those guys, like you said, the guys that probably never even made it to the league or had chances, that you like, wow, he's some good kid. Good guys. Like, there was a guy named Kurt Smith. I'm sure you know who Kurt Smith is, right? So Kurt Smith was an amazing guy that, for me, he's a guard, but I learned so much from him just watching him play. So, those games were amazing for me to watch.
Was he Charles Smith's brother?
Yes. Yep.
I saw him. He played in the McDonald's game.
Yeah. Yep.
And yep. I saw him. Yeah. He was good. Great handles.
Yes. Yeah.
So John was telling me that the documentary is partly based on Len Bias. Is that true?
Well, basically, I was telling Hoot, for those that haven't seen it, it's really educational because it takes into account socioeconomics in regards to the African-American community moving to the PG County suburbs, which most people don't know is the largest suburban African-American county in the United States. And so the talent, when their families moved there and they had kids, what used to be in downtown DC back in the 60s and 50s and 70s moved to PG County for the 80s and 90s. And the first one to come out of that was a hero. I mean, I grew up a huge Len Bias fan. I was actually at Len Bias's final game at Maryland on senior day.
Oh, wow.
And I went to Lefty Drizel's basketball camp and actually knew Jay Bias a little, his brother, and Len Bias and Adrian Branch and Keith Gatlin and the whole gang would come and play pickup in the evening. And that's the year. And Ben Coleman was my hall monitor. And you'll love this, Mike. He had to go out on a date one night, and John Lucas was his replacement. John Lucas woke us all up at 3 a.m. for absolutely no reason whatsoever. He knocked on all of our doors. I went up to John Lucas at 12 years old, and I looked at him. I go, Luke, baby, what the hell are you doing? It's 3 a.m. He goes, my bad, and he closed the door.
Now, John, which of those guys did you guard?
All of them. I played I was my station. People had stations. My station was the canteen. I would buy gear and Milky Ways. I wanted a good gear. I wanted autographs, and I shot 2 free throws and I went home. That was my experience at the University of Maryland Lefty Drizel basketball camp. I was totally satisfied with it. Anyways.
Now, Coach Sweetney, could you tell us a little bit? I know Mike probably has some maybe some directions for where he wants to go, but I'm really curious about your experience as a coach and kind of how that feels to you, and whether you're pulling things from your playing career, and you're aware of that as you're tutoring young kids now at yeshiva?
It kind of just fell into my lap where after when I stopped playing, a parent had came to me back home in Maryland. I was in Maryland, and actually kind of show his kid a few things. And once thing you know, I'm in the gym with the kid for a few minutes. Next thing you know, it turns to an hour and a half. And then the kid wanted more, so I kept teaching. Next thing you know, I started just, training kids. I'm like, man, I love teaching the game. So I was like, wow. So next thing you know, I went to Israel to visit Tamir Goodman. I did help his camp. This was last summer. And Tamir was like, hey, man, you should really think about, like, really coaching. Like, you get the attention of the kids. They respect you. You're a good teacher. You should really attend. I was like, man, I don't know where to start. He said, well, why not college? I was like, whoa, okay. It's a big jump. And so he called Elliot Steinmetz and coach at YU. And we talked for like 5 minutes. He said, all right, you're hired. I was like, so it was like, literally, I got hired by him like in 5 minutes. And we just cut off our conversation. And so just getting into the game and just started really just, I didn't know, I guess all the experience I've had, ups and downs, I kind of see things before it's going to happen on the game. I guess just my instincts happen. So it just kind of, I guess, been playing basketball since so I was 9 years old. I don't think it was just a thing, it just like clicked right away from him. Obviously, I'm no Phil Jackson, but, just, being able to call things before it happened, try to, give guys advice to, be in good position, just little tricks I've learned in the game, like especially with the post guys, so much stuff that I've learned, tricks I've learned along the way. So, I give it to them and it's been working. So it's been amazing. It's been an amazing jump for me. I'm loving it. I'm having so much fun. Obviously can't help when you go to yeshiva and you're 29-1 in the first year of coaching. So that helps the confidence level. When I was at Ramaz, my girls, we lost our first 3 games. And then I had a meeting with them. I gave them a good confidence talk, and we won our next 8 games. So we finished the season 8-3 and lost in semifinals and playoffs. So kind of got off to a good start. So we're just feeling good about it. It's been a lot of fun.
You have any aspirations to move back to the Division I level where you played at Georgetown, or get to the professional level, or are you at peace? Do you have more of an inner peace being sort of off the radar? To be honest with you,
I would never ever. You know what I'm saying? I would never say, but right now I'm not looking for, like I said, I live the NBA life. I live the Division I life. That life is fast, it's crazy. Like, you're on the go so much. Right now, with a wife and 3 kids, I don't know how to balance it. But at the end of the day, sometimes when destiny calls, something may happen. So I would never say never, but there's nothing that I'm looking for. Like I said, I'm happy at YU. I'm at peace. Like, I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. I'm just, YU, my schedule's flexible. My schedule's flexible, able to still do my public speaking. Still able to, work with kids on the side. So right now, I'm in peace. I'm happy. My kids are happy. My family's happy. So I'm a lot of people, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So,
yeah. Coach,
having fun with it.
Coach, you were a big time All-Met player out of high school, but talk about the impact of COVID and the lack of summer league to the guy that's man or woman that's maybe a low D1 that really needed that summer league to get seen. And without that, how that's going to impact both the recruiting for all levels of D1, but also the players, of the negative impact that's going to have.
It's definitely going to hurt, especially guys that were, on that cusp where they were looking forward to those big dome games, and so many summer leagues and stuff just to try to get seen. So now, only you can kind of rely on is maybe your high school tape. And so I guess right now, coaches going to probably have to get creative, but those guys are on a bubble. It really affects. I don't really, I'm hoping it's maybe sometimes coaches, okay, we got some open spots, just, try to go on a whim, but it's going to hurt so many people. I mean, yeah, it's going to be hard. So it's definitely affected so much. And like I said, with basketball, guys going from high school trying to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys on a bubble from college trying to go to pro. Like, there were guys that sometimes guys look for that tournament.
Right.
Some guys have a good NCAA tournament to get
Sure.
So, that's a huge loss too.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Mike. How do you think the NCAA or the conferences, whether it's the Power Five or the mid-majors, have handled how they're going to approach the college basketball season from what you've heard? Division III is probably a little bit different than Division I, but do you think we should be playing college basketball right now?
Don't get me wrong. So here's my opinion. I'm just going to, be I'm one of those people, like, I'm not gonna lie, like COVID has had me, it's scary. It scared the life out of me. And
Well, I
so
noticed you
right
were
now I
wearing a
can't.
New York Knicks mask in your own house. Was that because somebody's quarantining, or you just do that?
Oh no, so I'm not in my house right now. Right now, so this is the NBA Players Association match. So I had to come to my kids right now. So we're in. I just moved to New York, so we're in transition. So when COVID happened, I couldn't look for a house. So we're still at an extended stay hotel looking for a home now. So hopefully we'll be moving soon. So my kids, I was in the the room with my kids, and they were playing Fortnite, screaming to the top of their lungs. So I had to come downstairs and try to get to the lobby to get some some quiet time. But I forgot where I left off at.
As far as the season goes, you think we
About
should
COVID.
get college basketball?
Yeah, so the season, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I guess it really just based off how I'm just gonna see how football season works, if it even does. Definitely, I don't think we should start right now. I think from what I heard, like Big East play is not going. I think they're going to jump right into this. They're planning on jumping into things in January. So I guess we can just kind of like wait and see, give it a few months, and just see if things are getting better. But if they're trying to say that we'll start with the next month or two, yeah, I'm not for that. I'm not comfortable because right now, like I said, numbers where I'm at here in New York, numbers are down. There's like here, for example, they're trying to open schools here in Jersey, and so we had the option to send them to schools, stay virtual. So I said, look, I'm staying virtual. I'm not too comfortable because every time kids are going to school, it's just not a bad situation. So just this past weekend, a bunch of high school kids in Jersey went to a party, and now I think it was like 40 kids caught COVID. So you're trying to send those same kids to high school, and it's the same thing with college. Like college guys, they're not just going to just stay in the bubble, go to class, and go to practice. No, guys going to make you see it happening now. It's on TV. Kids are partying. So, and all it takes is one or two guys to catch it, and the whole team or league is shut down. So it's tough. I don't see. To be honest with you, I do not see how the NCAA is going to pull it off unless they do, which is impossible. What the NBA is on is putting everybody in one bubble and just say, all right, this is how it's going to work. I don't see it.
Well, they talked about.
You're trying to ask guys that's 20, between 18 and 23 years old to live this, life where you're just being responsible. I'm not saying they're not going to be irresponsible, but guys are going to want to have fun. They're going to want to go have a party or go see a girl or whatever it may be. So
they are going to be irresponsible.
Huh?
They are going to be irresponsible because that's what you do in your 20s. I mean, if you're not irresponsible in your 20s, you don't get it out of the way, and you can't change when you hit your 30s, and you wind up being irresponsible in your 30s. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna happen. And I wonder, Mike, do you feel differently about yourself than you do about your kids? Like your exposure, would you feel okay going to the gym, but you wouldn't feel okay with the kids being in school?
So that's the thing. So I kind of had a conversation with my wife. I was like, she's like, if they try to start their season up right now, like in the next, month or two, and things are still where they are, it's a hard decision because I have a daughter that's high risk, So I'm taking that chance of going to the gym and, with my YU guys, I'm banking on, everybody, YU guys, this, coaching staff of being responsible. And, it's a hard risk. I love them, I trust them, but you just don't know. It's the unknown. And and I would feel like the worst person on earth if I did, catch it and bring it back home to my daughter, who was high risk. She's only, 6 years old.
So you guys were in an interesting cross section for me because I flew into Baltimore in early March to come to the two games at Hopkins.
Yeah.
So I spent a good bit of money on that airfare because I waited so long to find out where you were going to be. And then the night before, I'd had tickets at the box office. The night before, I got a text from a friend. It was probably 11:45, just before midnight, who said they're not allowing fans at tomorrow's game. And I laughed because I thought, that's ridiculous. What do you mean they're not allowing fans? And so I sat in my friend's living room and watched the video stream of the two games, which I thought were great games, but I really wanted to see.
Yeah.
I wanted to see Ryan Terrell up close. I wanted to be there for Donnie Katz. I really wanted to be at the game. So that's kind of, for me, that's when all this started. Is that because there was conversation about that? You guys tested up in New York before you came down on the bus, and was somebody on campus sick before you came down and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the thing. So with us, with that happened, one of the, I guess when it first started, I guess a guy in Westchester County was one of the first people they kind of, they found out that had it, and his kid went to YU, and they found out that his kid had it. So his kid went to YU, another kid went to SAR. So they found out. So I guess once they figured the kid had it, they assumed that we all had it. So it was one of those situations where we were already en route down there. Nobody was tested. So it was unknown. It was like, hey, if anybody's been around this kid, it was so many things unknown. So, and especially with Hopkins being one of the biggest and best medical programs in the country, that's where we get our information. That's where they get all our statistics. So when they reacted the way they did, guys were upset. But in the back of my mind, when you dig deep down, you understand, like, they couldn't take that risk. And I'm sure they knew studies, they knew. So it was, you understood. It did suck when we got to the hotel and the hotel wouldn't take us. And it was a lot of hurt. It was a lot going on. It was a lot. Because our first hotel wouldn't take us. It was just, because at that point when COVID happened, nobody really understood it, really know how to handle it, what to do, mask, gloves, what. So it was so much confusion going on. And like I said, we was the first ones that played with no fans. And it actually wasn't that bad. So it wasn't that bad at all, actually, for the guys.
I want to change gears a little bit here. And in the midst of this pandemic, we had a social uprising, and something that we all three, I'm sure all four of us, have been very passionate about. We've dedicated a lot of time on the podcast to the movement, the racial reckoning, as Dr. Lapchick called it, who we had on the podcast in the last episode, voted as one of the top 100 most influential people in the history of sports. And I want to give you an opportunity on this platform to share your thoughts about everything, and if there's anything we can do to continue to listen and learn, and to be a part of changing everything from the microaggressions and the aggressions, and just the way that people see the narrative differently over the next few decades.
Definitely. I mean, I agree. It's been it's been a lot going on in society, and it's been something me as an African American male. It is tough. It's one of those things where I guess the whole police brutality and being racially profiled. It is tough. At times, but it's sad that I say this, but I've become immune to it, and then I know it's not okay. But I've become immune to it. So it's one of those things.
Have you ever been racially profiled while you were driving or walking or on campus or anything like that?
Many a times. Weirdly, Georgetown, no. And I'm sure people probably felt some things because, playing in NBA, I've had some stuff done and said to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and just in general in life, like, yeah, I've had people say things and do things. So yeah, it's one of those things where it's definitely hurtful, and it was crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So where I live now, I'm in New Jersey, and it's a predominantly, so put it like this: my kids, it's probably maybe about 5 or 6 African American kids in the school they go to, and I was so nervous.
Wow.
On sending them to the school where we are right now. And when I got there, it was total opposite. Like, they took my kids in. It was just so much going. It was amazing. So, I'm a firm, but I give people a chance. Like, hey, you accept. I'm the type of person. I'm gonna love you and respect you no matter what. And that's what I'm hoping the world gets to, where no matter the color of a person's skin, it should be love and respect. We can start loving and respecting each other. I think the world will be a better place. And then one thing I touched on with Coach Elliott, and it's not just, don't get me wrong, the African American community is under attack, but also the Jewish community is under attack. It's been a lot of, hate crimes up here too. So me and Elliot, we've had many conversations wondering, like, how can we get both of these communities to work together? And because we both are under attack in different, not the same scenario, but in different scenarios. Like, we're getting attacked by police, and, the Jewish community just getting attacked for no reason. And then some of it is my community. And for me being here, the Jewish community has been so much here for my family. Wondering how can we help? And I think that's one of the things that bothers me when some of the African Americans do attack the Jews. I'm like, hey, like, you guys really dig deep down. They're on your side more than you think they are. I don't know why you think they're against you. And I feel like if we can work together and just make this world a better place, that's just how I feel. I'm just wanting to find a way. How can we make peace? Make everybody just accept each other and love each other and respect.
Yeah, well, we applaud you for having that type of attitude, considering you've been through so much yourself, which, as Dr. Jonathan Alexander Lowney said when he was on our show, that there are spaces that you can never go to that we can go to all the time. And so it's really hard for me to understand what you've been through, but I can try and empathize as much as I can. And I applaud you for continuing to have hope and take that attitude of treating everyone equally. I want to change here. September is National Suicide Awareness Month.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've, as you said, you were in the middle of Times Square at one point, and you were in a really dark place, even though everyone else saw you as being sort of on top of the world, being a top 10 draft pick. And talk a little bit about what you feel comfortable talking about in terms of what you do to speak on this matter, mental illness. And, I know Kevin Love has come out and been sort of a spokesperson for the NBA, and I know you've been through some things. So I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about this.
Yeah. So just a quick little rundown of what happened. Right before my rookie season, my father had passed away of a massive heart attack, maybe 4 or 5 days before training camp started. And my father was like my best friend, the person that introduced me to the game of basketball. He was like my everything at Rock. So it was just talk to him that morning, and then afternoon, just suddenly I get a phone call, he's gone. So it was one of those things where I let my father rest and say, okay, went to training camp 2 days later. So I said, okay, I'm just going to use basketball as my outlet, just letting things go. And which it was at that point. During training camp, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was, kicking butt and taking names. So I was hoping, I was like, okay, hopefully, and everything was going great. So I was like, hopefully I'll be the starter. That's how good I was doing in training camp. I was like, okay, I should be the starter. And some of my teammates were like, yeah, you probably start, dude. Nobody's better than you right now. And I got the news when my coach pulled me in before the season started and was like, hey, you're not going to play. So I'm thinking okay, maybe he's saying I'm just not going to start. He said, yeah, you're not going to dress. We're just going to put you in a suit and you're going to be IR. And I'm like, why? And he's like, yeah, you're a rookie. You got to pay your dues. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, hold on. I'm in here in practice. Nobody can go. I'm doing what are you talking about? This makes no sense. And so it started to take a toll where it got to a point where basketball just wasn't even fun. Hated going to practice, hated going to games. I'm sitting in, watching LeBron and D-Wade, those guys get opportunities, careers taking off. And then, they'll take y'all and put me in bad situations where it's like, oh, you play 2-3 minutes here. And so it started making me look like I was just a horrible player. And it was a bad situation. And it started to get the best of me. It took its toll. Basketball wasn't fun. It wasn't my outlet. So then I'm also going home to an empty home where I'm still grieving my father. So everywhere I went, it was just no peace of mind. Basketball wasn't it. I got people on the street like, hey, man, what's going on? Why are you not playing? And why are you not doing this? And you should, and that, hearing that all the time, it was like, all right, everywhere I'm going, I'm just facing some type of whatever. And it got to a point, I just got into a really, really dark place. And I just, 2 times while I was playing in the NBA, I tried to end it all, tried to take, pills just to end it because I was just tired. Mm-hmm. And really got to a point where, it got worse than that. And I just said, when I quit, walked away from the game of basketball for a little bit. Then my wife told me she was pregnant with my oldest son now. That's when I knew I had to make a change. I didn't know how to make a change, but I finally got, met the right person and got the help that I needed to, just release what happened to my NBA career, accept my father's death, and just learn how to deal with, adversity in life. So once I did that, I started becoming a better person, and I be able to. So now, I don't even get to the point where I'm really depressed. I might get upset or something whatever. But I know how to handle it. I know how to deal with things, deal with life. So I kind of just now I'm at a point where I'm able to share my story and I'm comfortable to say, hey, look, I was this guy. I had to say before I had a billboard in Times Square, and I was on top of the world to other people, but inside I was probably the lowest of the low. And I just try to share the story that no matter where you are in life, where you high or low, we all go through things where we might need to, some people are depressed more than others. Some people are more clinical. Some people are more spiritual. And I just try to share what I went through to hopefully make people comfortable of saying, hey, that stigma. They're still if you're going through something, you're not crazy. You're human. We all go through it. And it's, let's talk about it. Why don't you get some help? Talk to a friend, talk to a spiritual person, get a counselor, just something just to release that. And that's just my pride right now is just trying to, change that stigma to tell as many people as possible my story, my life, how I overcame it. And, hey, if you're going through this right now, there are better days ahead, but, it's all about talking and releasing and trying to make those steps forward. And obviously everybody's situation is different, but that's just my journey right now.
Mike, was there enough done by the league? I know they have a big program for incoming rookies, a big education program. I was in Orlando for a season, so I got a chance to see some of that stuff. Is it enough?
Now they're working. Now it's getting to a point now where you got your start. And when I was playing, no. You look at somebody like Ron Artest, a.k.a. Metta World Peace, whatever you guys want to call him. But you look at somebody like him, he was deemed as this crazy guy. And I've had many conversations with him and been around him, far from it. I don't know I don't want to go deep, but I don't know what his situation was. But people deemed him as crazy. So at that point, when I was playing, he was looked at as crazy. So that's why I kind of hit it. That's why I didn't really tell anybody. But now they're starting to put things in place because you got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, so many of this, high-profile guys coming out saying, hey, I got anxiety, I have depression, or I have, issues. So now they're starting to have this program in place where they're trying to get something going. But I think it's all about getting guys to trust. So I think that's the hardest part, but at least they're trying to go in the right direction. But that program you're talking about is the NBA, that's the transition program. I think now it's different. Now they talk about it. When I was playing, we didn't talk about mental health at all. It was more so how to deal with your money, how to deal with the NBA travel schedule, and just how to deal with being an NBA player. They had never talked about, hey, taking care. They always say, being in best shape, and they would talk about, taking care of your mental. So, yeah. So now I think they're starting to get it and say, okay, this is very important.
Mike, did you know Eddie Griffin back in the day
Yes.
from Seton Hall? And he committed suicide. And it was a very similar story, except it sounds like he didn't get the help he needed. And
when Eddie was a great guy and I remember hearing his story and I was like, wow, I was playing in the league at that time, and I was like, wow, this is eye opening. It was hurtful, but not saying I understand it, but when he was going through at that time when we were playing, whatever he was going through, he probably didn't feel comfortable going to especially us young guys as rookies.
Sure.
We probably wouldn't last long. They'd probably get cut the next day.
Sure.
If they think they should do whatever. Whereas a high profile guy, they give you benefit of doubt, but he probably felt like he had nowhere to turn because people assume, okay, you got millions of dollars. How can, that person on the outside, how can you be miserable? Or how can you be sad? How can you be going through something? So it was a sad story to hear that he probably felt like he had nowhere to turn.
Right. Talk about the pressure being a first-round pick by the New York Knicks and how that compounds it compared to being, let's say, a first-round pick by the Charlotte Hornets.
So when I tell people this story, they think I'm crazy. So I didn't have any pressure because I had so much going on with the Knicks. I'm sure you guys know we had so much drama. They almost tended to forget about me a little bit because, they had the sexual harassment lawsuits going on. Stephon was going back and forth with the coaches and general managers, and it was something going on, because this was Isaiah Thomas there. So there was so much going on. I hate to say, I won't say I got lucky, but they kind of forgot about, that rookie guy that's not panning out too well to an extent. Of course, I had some articles here and there, but that took up most of it because it was so much high profile stuff. You got high profile names and,
right. Interesting.
Yeah. So I kind of got swept under the rug a little bit. So, yeah, but I'm sure now, I guarantee you it's definitely tough because obviously New York is the biggest media market in the country. So, but they had other bigger fish to fry than me not panning out too well.
Gotcha.
What do you think the biggest problem is with the Knicks? I'd probably be remiss if I didn't ask your opinion. James Dolan, it gets a bad rap. He does a lot of philanthropy. He does a lot with the hurricanes, but he just seems like he's making all the wrong decisions. And obviously the guy got unlucky a couple of days ago with the draft. They're going to get the 9th pick. But what are your opinions about James Dolan?
So personally, I have all people. I tell people the interactions I've had with James Dolan, he's a great guy. He'll give you a shirt off his back, doing things for you. If I call James Dolan right now and say, hey, I'm in a dire situation, I need help or whatever, he'll be there. He's a great guy. He was always good. Hey, need anything? He was just an amazing person. So I always tell people this: I don't know. Like, I'm not in those meetings when he's talking with the general manager and the coaches. So I don't know what goes on. I'm assuming, and I don't want to say it's all him. It may be a collective effort. It may be some, people in the front office and everybody's on the same page. But personally, as a man, I would say he's a great person. From my experiences, I'm sure obviously the Oakley stuff and the Spike Lee stuff didn't go too well.
Right.
But he's never treated me, me or my family anyway, nobody bad at all. So, but I think it's more so of a collective effort. Obviously, him being on the forefront, being the owner, of course he gets the backlash. But I don't think it's all 100% on him. I think it's a collective effort. Sure.
Mike, I lived in New York for a long time, and so this is going to be an off question most people don't get. How much of a pain is it for the practice facility to be in Westchester, but the arena to be in New York City, and not to have do you think it hurts in the free agency thing? I know it sounds crazy, but if you live in New York, you know what a pain it is to drive that to the Knicks to get a practice facility downtown so that the whole thing is downtown.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Well, that would be awesome. But for me, it was definitely hard sometimes. Like some days, it'll take you almost 2 hours to get to the game.
Right. That's
some
my point.
days, like by the time I get home from shoot around, I get like an hour power nap. So they try to come up. When I was there, we came up with a plan where you would have shoot around the Garden. They would give us a hotel. We would have shoot around in the morning at the hotel. At the Garden. They'll get us a hotel, 2 blocks away, and we'll just the way that way we get more rest and no traffic. But like I said, it's nothing like having everything all in one facility, one right there, one hop, skip, and a jump. It was the same way when I was in Chicago too. Like our facility was same thing, upstate and had to go.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely tough, and like I said, now, a lot of teams are putting everything all in one place. I think Brooklyn had everything in one place.
Yeah, that's Brooklyn's figured it out that was not.
Yeah. So
they use it as a recruiting tool. They use it as a recruiting tool when they're going up against the Knicks. They're like, because no 22-year-old wants to live in Westchester. Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's tough. It's definitely tough. So, but it wasn't. I think for me, I was so I was young.
Right.
I'm coming from not having much to the facility we had it in. So that's the thing though. But the facility in Westchester is. Yeah, it's amazing.
Cool.
It has everything you can think of there that you wouldn't have to worry about anything. So it's a catch-22, but definitely if that facility was in a city, that would be amazing.
What's your opinion about the bubble? Obviously, it's been successful. There's no fans. The virtual fans are hilarious. You played against Carmelo Anthony when he won a national championship at Syracuse. And, he's sort of reinvented himself. He didn't have a good game the other night. But what are your thoughts about the bubble and how, the home court advantage is sort of neutralized? And, you have any opinions about how the games have been going from your perspective?
So for me, the bubble shocked me. I thought about guys having a long layoff. I thought it was going to be basketball. But it's been amazing. It's been good basketball. Everybody's been competing. It's been good basketball so far. Definitely, I think it is a little weird now watching the playoffs and everybody's in the same race. No, it's like I said, it's a neutral thing. It's like playing an NCAA tournament type thing where it's no, if you're on the road, you got fans screaming at you. When you're at home, your fans cheering for you to get extra energy. So I'm sure that's probably a little awkward for the guys. But just the competition and guys competing, it's been great basketball. I've been definitely surprised and shocked by it. So – yeah, I think maybe I've just been missing basketball so much I'm not paying attention to it. But yeah, it's been great so far. But obviously I think that one part now, the playoffs, is just definitely weird for me to watch it, not having guys be home and row. You see like Houston right now. You seeing all the red in the background, or they have a white out or a red out. It's just weird. Some little things you look for that you don't see. So it's definitely weird not seeing that.
The game's changed, obviously. There was, metrics has changed the game. The low post play has changed. How good you were
not changed, league, it's gone.
It's gone. How good are these guys? Is Harden in the same conversation with Jordan in terms of scoring? These guys are so skilled. It's just they make it look so easy. It's just, and I'm a professional skills trainer in basketball.
Yeah.
And I try and teach some of these things. But when I watch 7-footers doing some of this stuff and obviously the zero dribble is not a travel in the NBA as it would be in college, for example.
Yeah.
So they get away with some things that other levels can't. Talk about for a couple minutes how unbelievably good these guys are that we watch that make it look so easy.
Oh, so definitely for me, I know my era guys are probably mad at me saying this, but definitely it probably is a lot more talent now. Because whereas, sometimes, probably in our era, out of a, 12, 15 man roster, you probably got about 5 guys that can score. Whereas now, you probably got about 10 guys that can, put the ball in the hole, and some guys that sit on the bench that can, probably give you some buckets. So the talent level is through the roof. Whereas now you got guys like Joel Embiid who can put it on the floor, play the post up, shoot the three. Pretty much as a big man starting the league now, if you can't shoot the three, you probably ineffective. You're not going to be on the floor long. You know what I'm saying? So it's the talent level. Like you should say, James Harden, Steph Curry, the way these guys are shooting now, the shooting is like unbelievable. Like, so just the shooting, the ball handling, everything is like shooting, ball handling.
It's amazing.
It's just through the roof. I mean, a lot of people, for me, it's entertaining. I mean, I get, missing the post, play and the physical basketball. I do miss that. But for me, sometimes it is entertaining. So it's not bad. I mean, the skill level is definitely high on every player right now.
I mean, you're
Coach, you like Portland over LA, don't you, in the series?
Oh, God. Come on,
So before Dame got hurt, I really did not know. But now I think the Lakers might be well. But at that point, it was one of those things where I just didn't know because Portland was so hot. It was so hot, and Dame was on another level. You got CJ McCollum. I just didn't see the Lakers, just really matching up with that. And LeBron, he's – I don't want to say he's slowing down. He's just not that – he's not aggressive like he used to be. I don't know what it is. He's only averaging 16 points right now.
He's busy trying to get people to vote too. He's not just playing ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's kind of expanded his workload.
But isn't this a situation where Dallas is pushing the Clippers to be able to take their game to the next level, which they haven't been forced to do yet, and the Lakers either, and they're capable of that? And I don't know if Dallas yet. Maybe in a couple of years they will be with those two guys, Porzingis and Doncic. And the Clippers, they have 2 Hall of Famers on their team, and they haven't been forced to take it to the next level. And regular season basketball is not the same as playoff basketball with or without fans.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. Like with the Clippers, they have so much firepower. It's ridiculous with them. So don't get me wrong. Like Dallas, they've given them, they pushed them a little bit. And but like you said, and also obviously Dallas is coming. There's one of those teams you can see like, okay, this team they add some more pieces. This is a team to be reckoned with. They could be probably will be one of the top teams in the West at one point. So it's it's interesting to watch. Like for me. There's so many scenarios right now. Like I said, I know with the whole Portland thing, it's one of those things. I just wasn't confident in the Lakers. Like now, they say the injury to Dame Lillard, anything can happen. But before that, you just don't know. They're just so unpredictable. Like everybody said, oh, they're gonna turn it on. They're gonna turn it on. At some point, they keep saying it since the bubble started. So that's when is it going to happen? So we'll see.
Now there must be some strategic differences, right, between what we're talking about now at the pro level and what you did as a pro, and what's happening at Yeshiva.
I don't know.
And what's happening at Yeshiva strategically. So how have you adjusted to what the offense is like at YU? How has that been?
I was going to ask about that, about motion offense, because they run motion maybe better than Indiana used to run motion from the game. I was like, amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so for me, it was amazing to watch. And I think for us, why it worked so well, because we had, guys from 1 to 15. Everybody was selfish. Like, hey, it's all about team. Where, we got guys like Gabe and Ryan who probably can put the ball in the hole every time they touch the ball. But it's like, how can I get the next guy open? So I think that's what helps us a lot, because we don't have selfish guys. That's a hard offense to run when you got some guys that want to break it off sometimes to get theirs. So, coaches put in a good little, whole accountability with guys where it's about team. And I think that's why it's ran so well, because we don't have guys that want to break it off here and there to get their thing. It's just like, let's get the best shot for the next open person. And I think that's why it's working.
So how many times did you go to Elliot Steinmetz, the head coach, and suggest some pick and roll action and have him wave you off?
Oh, yeah. No, not one time. Not one time, because they –
okay.
Because, and Elliot, he'll probably tell you this, if you ask him, like, we don't really have to coach much for them. I mean, obviously some stuff, but, like, the seniors we had, they held each other so accountable. It was like I've been around a team like that before in my life. from high school, college, pro, where people held guys accountable. You can say whatever to your guy. There was no selfless guys where, it's not one guy. I'm sure guys probably upset about playing time behind closed doors, but they don't bring it on the floor. So, and the offense ran so smoothly. So, but it wasn't much we had to say. Instead, sometimes coach had to call a timeout to our guys. Y'all not taking these guys serious. Let's play harder. But other than that, it was an easy team to coach. So it was one of those things. The offense just ran itself. So it was cool.
You're joining us in the Sports Deli with special guest Mike Sweetney, who played at Georgetown University, was a Naismith Player of the Year finalist and a candidate for the John R. Wooden Award after his junior year. How was the experience at Georgetown in a predominantly white school under Craig Esherick when Coach Thompson wasn't there anymore? And he says hello, by the way. I reached out to him before the podcast. He's going to come on next week, probably. Yeah. Yep.
That's my guy. Yeah. I it's funny because I texted him a couple of weeks ago. I was watching the game, and he was like going on the ref for me because I guess I didn't get a foul. I was like, Coach, man, you had my back, man. I said, I love you, man. I just shouldn't be broke back. He was laughing. It's about a month ago I texted him that. So, that was a great experience. Craig was an awesome coach. He's one of the guys. He's probably why I am where I am today because when I came in as a freshman, we had a guy named Lee Scruggs and Cortland Freeman, who was like he was like a high-ranked guy. Lee Scruggs was coming off a good year. We had Bunche. We had a really talented team, and everybody kept saying, "Oh, you ain't gonna see the floor when you get there, your first couple years." And I went in there like, "All right, I'm gonna prove you guys wrong." And Craig saw my potential. Was like, "Yo, you're my guy. You're starting." I was like, "Really?" He was like, "Yeah, you put in work. You did what you're supposed to do." And he believed it. He put me in a position to succeed. And he put the ball in my hands as a freshman. Where we had a talented team with the Sweet 16 my freshman year. And he's like, "Look, I know I got Kevin Brasswell's guys, but I want you to carry this." So he gave me that confidence that I know I can do it. So I give a lot of respect to him.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share with us that you want to tell everybody out there about, what you're doing and anything that people don't know that might not have asked you in your past interviews or podcasts or anything that you've been a part of?
Pretty much. And I think you guys, covered it all. I'm obviously, coaching at YU, and, I'm a huge mental health advocate. I'm one of those people that I don't care who you are. If you want to reach out and talk and just something going on in life, you just need somebody to talk to. I'm one of those guys. You can reach out to me on social media or something, to just say, "Hey, man, I got some, rough life going." I'm one of those guys like, "Hey, obviously I'm not a doctor, so I'm not saying that part, but you just need somebody just to vent to, just to say, hey, I've been where you are. There are brighter days. I'm that guy." So, I'm a huge mental health advocate. I love being there for people. So,
what's your Instagram page or your Twitter page?
My Instagram is at Mike Sweetney. Facebook is Michael Sweetney also. MikeSweetney. Because some people always call me Sweetney and not Sweetney. So it's Sweet, Sweetney. So
now,
are you on Twitter?
Coach?
Yeah, I don't use it. I think I have a
page,
page, but
yeah. No tweeting.
Coach,
I'm one of those guys. I'm horrible at social media.
Yeah.
Can you do something about the two guys that broadcast your streams?
What streams?
The game streams at Yeshiva. Coach, I watched a lot of those streams. Sometimes I watch them in the coach's office before our practice or before we play a game because the time zones or whatever. I try to keep up with your schedule, mostly for Donnie Katz and his dad and stuff. But sometimes I have to turn the sound down. I love those guys. But they need a little basketball education, Coach.
Yeah, I've heard it a few times, man.
Maybe when things get back to normal, you can have a little sit down, a little tea time with those guys, and explain, a little bit about,
They're too busy yelping the best delis in New York.
That's funny.
Yeah, those guys are hilarious because I know Poppers, so Poppers, we've had some interesting conversations before. So he's one of those guys that he loves to watch basketball, but I think he's still trying to learn and understand it. But now YU is starting to get a little bit more fanfare coming to, I guess probably when he started, it was probably like maybe 10 to 12 people on it watching. Now you got a couple hundred, so now you got to know what you're talking about now. So
you got to raise your game.
He's a great guy, but he just has to learn the game a little bit more because it's definitely interesting. I've heard that many a time. So that's why we said so you started talking, I knew exactly where you were going. That's why I started laughing because he's a funny guy, man.
All right, let's close it out with this or that part of the podcast. All right, here we go. Give us which answer best fits what you prefer. All right, Scooby-Doo or Tom and Jerry?
Ooh, I'm gonna say Scooby-Doo because my kids love Scooby-Doo. Wife is a huge Scooby-Doo fan, so I'm gonna say Scooby-Doo.
Nice. Pancakes, waffles, or French toast?
Wow, that is a tough one. I'm gonna say
John,
French
do you want to
toast.
weigh in on that one?
Waffles. I can tell you that John's waffles all the way.
I'm a huge Waffle House fan.
As long as it's hot.
I recommend the All American at Waffle House. You can't go wrong. $6.98, and for $1.15 more, you can double down and get double waffles. I highly recommend it.
God bless America.
Yeah, I'm going French toast with challah bread for sure.
You have to do challah. You have to do the challah bread.
Yes.
Period. Exactly correct.
It's definitely much fluffier. All right, Dr. Pepper or root beer?
Ooh. I'm gonna say root beer because I like root beer floats. So root beer.
Burgers or pizza?
Burgers.
MySpace or Facebook?
Wow. So I'm gonna go Facebook because I never had a MySpace page. So I'm gonna go Facebook.
All right. If you were playing a song in the background, what would it be?
With people around or by myself?
Both.
People around right now, I'm gonna say Drake's new song.
Oh, nice.
Nobody around. I'm gonna say I don't know if I want to say this. I love
Barry
I'm a
White.
big Taylor Swift fan. I'm gonna say it's I'm a big Taylor Swift fan.
Wow, that was unexpected.
I listen to a lot of her songs, so yeah. So when I'm in the car by myself, when I'm with the fellas, I can't play that.
Oh wait, okay. So hold on a second. Do you have your favorite imitation of anybody, or sing a couple lines from Taylor's songs?
No.
Aren't we having Taylor Swift on the show next week?
Yes.
You will?
Yeah.
I'll do it. If she's on the show, I'll come on and do it for her.
All right. Keep that in mind. All right. Candy or popcorn at the movies?
Oh, candy by far. I'm probably the worst candy junkie there is.
If you had to replace your legs with an animal, what animal would have the best type of legs for you to replace them with?
Ooh.
What kind of question is that?
No, I have because I actually had an answer, but I was going to say a giraffe. And I was like, no, I'm gonna probably say an elephant. So have some good, strong legs, sturdy legs.
Good for posting up.
Yep.
Space Jam or Hoosiers?
Space Jam.
Oh,
I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan.
I'm gonna have to unfriend. I'm gonna have to unfriend you after that one.
Coach Carter or Blue Chips?
Blue Chips. I'm a Shaq guy.
Yeah,
Shaq was one of my idols growing up. So.
Man, did you see that last night with the basketballs and him and Barkley with the Cokes or the beers, whatever they were? What they did on?
Nah, I missed that.
I
usually watch them.
The challenge was to put a soda can on the basketball and drop the basketball on the ground, and then the can would pop up in the air, and they had to catch as many cans as they could in 45 seconds. Charles was terrible. Shaq got 3.
I was getting ready to say I know Charles is horrible.
And one of them hit him dead center in the chest, and his reaction was great.
Yeah, Charles is funny, man.
Oh, man, that guy. Love and basketball or White Men Can't Jump?
Whoa, I'm going to say white. That's a tough one. I'm going to go 1A, White Man Can't Jump, and 1B, Love and Basketball. Both of those like some of my favorite movies.
Oh, those were great. Snickers or Kit Kat, since you love candy?
I'm going to go Snickers.
Skittles or M&M's?
Skittles.
Mario Brothers or Tetris?
Mario. I still play Mario to this day.
Now you're probably – there you go. Now you're probably going to be biased to KD, so I probably shouldn't ask you this question. But LeBron or KD?
Oh, LeBron.
LeBron or Michael?
Oh, Michael.
Monopoly or Scrabble?
I'm gonna say Scrabble because I'm better, but Monopoly I suck. I always lose. So I'm gonna say Scrabble.
Dishes or vacuum?
Vacuum.
Batman or Spider-Man?
Wow. Got me on that one. I'm going to say a slight edge to Batman.
And shower in the morning or in the evening?
That's tough. 'Cause I do both. But I'll say the evening is probably better to help me unwind down. It's tough because then I don't feel better. I don't feel weird. I don't take a shower before I leave out.
We should say at the end of the This and That segment each time, no animals were harmed during the filming of this segment. And John and I had no investment in this segment whatsoever. It's all Mike.
I take full ownership of this. Well, Mike, we really appreciate your time. It's been enlightening.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad we finally got this done. I know we've been missing each other for a couple of weeks, so thank you.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, we're excited that you
Coach, it's really great to hear that things are going in a positive direction for you. I'm really happy to hear that. You know, I've got a long-standing relationship with Tamir, and to be quite honest, anybody that Tamir gives a thumbs up to is more than just a good person, is an amazing person. And so, you know, we're really glad that things are going in a positive direction.
And I always say thank you. And I tell him that all the time, like, thank you for the opportunities. And for him, I take pride in if he tells somebody, hey, you know, Michael's a guy, I always try to make sure I make him look good. So, because, you know, he's one of the most respected guys. He's an amazing person. So he's one of my close friends. We talk a lot. So
now you should know that he fired me from camp. And then he hired you. So that's not true. I'm responsible for you having that job in a weird way.
That's what he's selling to me. He's bringing everybody if they said he want to come.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure your kids are waiting. Anything else for the good of the cause? Otherwise, thanks again for coming on. We're honored to have you and hear what you had to say. And you don't have to work hard to be who you are and be the amazing person that you are. And I'm glad you got through those dark times and you're paying it forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys, and keep it going, guys. Appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Great to have you.
Sounds good,
Great
Mike.
having you. Thank you so much.
Much love. Be good.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe.
Peace. Yep, you too.
You too.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing space with us today. We truly hoped you enjoyed that amazing interview. Remember, everyone, Black Lives Matter. Stop the bullying. Stop the Asian hate. Contact your local and state politicians for any inequalities, for any individual or any group that's being marginalized. Also, everyone, we want to raise awareness for those individuals that are currently imprisoned for non-violent offenses, in particular those with long-term sentences that are disproportionate, in particular to those people in the Black and brown community. And I want to send a shout out to 40tons.co. 40 Tons is a socially conscious cannabis brand, and they're a social enterprise using the regulated cannabis industry to fight injustice, in particular for cannabis prisoners. So check them out again at 40, the number 4, the number 0, tons, plural, 40tons.co, because what they're doing in the cannabis space and being a socially conscious company is truly incredible, and they have my full support. And also wanted to remind all of you, if you're having a tough time, you can always call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and that number is 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, and they are available 24/7, 365 days a year. You can also always check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok at Mike Hootner. Thanks again to our amazing sponsors, Breaking Tea, Sport RX, PSK Collective, City Lokes, and Moolah Kicks, which you can see right here up on the screen. You can search them online at breakingtea.com, sportrx.com, pskcollective.com, moolahkicks.com, and citylokes.com. And if you'd like to support us at the Sports Deli, we'd love to have you either make a one-time donation or feel free to make a donation monthly, either 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. If you have questions about that, send me an email again to thesportsdeli@gmail.com, and I will send you the link on how you can do that. You can also find it at the bottom of every podcast on Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Link at the bottom to support the show. Please check out our website at thesportsdelypodcast.com. Make sure that we continue the conversations with regards to 3 strikes and you're out and mandatory minimums, especially people that are in jail for nonviolent offenses. So those things need to change. And remember, gents and ladies, please remember to do your monthly self-breast examinations. And remember, guys, this afflicts about 1,500 men annually, with about a third of those resulting in death. So we want to make sure that we do our monthly self-breast examinations, both men and women. And guys, remember to do your self-testicular examinations every month as well. Until next time, remember, it takes a village. For Dr. J and Coach K, I'm Hootie Hoot. This has been a production of Hootie Hoot Productions. Thank you for joining us in the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. Remember, it takes a village. Much love, everybody. Peace. Hey everyone, if you waited this long, you're going to enjoy these outtakes from today's episode because they're hilarious. Thanks again for joining us, everybody. Much love. Where the fuck is Gordon?
I don't know.
He's got PG County up in this. Let's go.
That's where he's from.
Oh, hell yeah. He was just in a documentary. Did you read about it?
I know. Yeah, with that Kevin Durant directed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it. It was good.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It's very good.
I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm going to say that as a part of the intro.
It's very good. It's very interesting. It all stems back from? Len Bias.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Len Bias was the first. So where it really stems back from is the fact that in the late 60s, early 70s, a heavy proportion of African Americans moved from D.C. to Prince George's County. And thus their kids moved with them. And that's why the basketball got better.
Interesting. Wow. That's cool.
Let's see my other one.
This is what you're doing in between your COVID meetings.
Yeah. Here's my other one, Mike. Hoot.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. Where's Gordon? Sweetney's coming on in 2 minutes.
Well, then we'll go without him.
Is he going to answer the text messages and that not go move your Toro? Oh, Gordon's here. Of his 9,000 computers he's got at work, he can't figure out his audio. Be on time when time's involved, Coach Kaplan. There's the Diet Coke.
Iced tea.
Defensive and triggered already.
Oh, man. Gordon, are you naked with the cat or something? Is that why you can't?
Gordon Joshua Cohen called. He's unhappy with his new iPad, his new laptop.
Joshua Cohen. Why you got to play the Jew card?
Okay.
First of all,
Jeremy Lin. Jeremy
Lin. The video shows you from the chin up. Okay, that's better.
How about this?
Hey, Wex, this is a salad?
I go to Panera all the time. This is my app. See?
Green's a good color for you, Wex. Let me see if I can put in a call to Tom Izzo and maybe get you a little something there in East Lansing or wherever the hell they are.
See, this is my Panera app. And if you notice, I have 2 rewards, which means I go there quite often.
It must be a drive-through.
Yeah, it is.
Boy, I tell you, places besides normal, traditional drive-throughs that are drive-throughs are making bank.
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Because nobody wants to go inside. First of all, people are lazy in general. And second of all, it's safer, and they can get decent food like at Panera Well, In-N-Out's not really healthy. You guys don't have In-N-Out necessarily, but it's just easier. Mike said he's going to a quieter place and that he'll be joining us in a minute.
You mean like internally?
I can't answer that for him. That would be a good starting question, though. Although if that was a question for John, if John was a special guest of ours, it would probably go right over his head. Gordon, you could at least get the head in the picture. This is
Sorry, I don't have that kind of control here, dude. I got to Photoshop it for you. Okay, fine.
and you're using an illegal picture.
Right. This whole thing's illegal.
Why don't you get a picture of him with the Bulls? Everybody has the picture of him with.
Oh my God!
With the Knicks.
You're like somebody's Jewish mother. It's annoying.
No, I'm definitely not a Jewish mother.
You definitely are.
So what are we going to talk about afterwards? I want to touch on the phenomenal announcers for baseball and hockey who are out as a result of their dumb comments, even though I don't think Brenneman should have been canned necessarily, but
I'm not aware of what you're speaking about.
The Cincinnati Reds announcer made a homophobic comment off air. Well, he thought
Why?
it was off air. He was trying to be funny, and it wasn't funny, obviously, and so he's gone from not only baseball but football now. And then Mike Milbury, hockey announcer on NBC, has removed himself or been asked to be removed. One of the two. We don't really know which one it was, but he made a comment about the players in the NHL bubble are not being distracted by women by being in the bubble.
What's wrong with people?
So, as Donovan Bennett said, an author of Sportsnet.ca, he's a podcaster and a writer. He said it's heteronormative, sexist, factually incorrect, and a terrible take.
Wow, that pretty much covered it.
Yeah, that definitely
sounds like something Lowney would say.
Definitely. Let me see. All right, Mike is entering the room.
Not really happy with my background choices.
Mike.
He's working on the sound.
Thanks, John.
Coach Sweetney, can you hear us?
Hearing.
We can't hear you yet, but we'll figure it out. Take your time. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's on mute. Hold it. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yeah, we're good.
Coach, how are you?
Okay. Good. Let me ask you a question. Is it a delay on my end? Is it delayed at all?
Slightly. A little bit.
We're only using the audio, so I'm not sure how big of a deal it's going to be. Mike, are you using an iPhone 3? Did we lose Mike?
I'm here. I'm answering.
The other Mike. I'm not asking you any questions. You're not the guest.
Oh, he's coming in again. All right. Oh, I thought you were getting ready to put a helmet on. What the hell is that? Oh, salad. I think he's going to go on his phone now instead. Wex, your head's in the way. At least move out of the way.
We're going to have to call the dean of enrollment at Yeshiva and get Mike Sweetney a computer.
Look, I know, right? No, I was on my laptop for whatever reason. It wasn't connecting. I don't know what was the weirdest thing.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay, hold up. Let me see why it's not. All right, start video. There we go. Boom. All right, I'm on my phone. So. All right, is this better?
It is.
All right, cool. All right.
Hey, we're glad that you're here, man. We're excited.
No, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, Coach, I got to tell you, I have a cat, and he's meowing like he's very interested in this particular podcast. So if I cut my video, it's only because I got to go and corral him. Okay, I'm just letting you know has nothing to do with the interview or the content. Okay.
No. So actually, no. So I have a cat and 2 dogs. So I get it.
Okay. So yeah.
Oh, wow. I wasn't going to get to the this or that portion of the podcast just yet because cat or dogs was one of the questions, but I guess he's going to say both.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you don't know if he's going to say both.
Well, that's true. It might be his better half's choice for one, and he might prefer the other, but I don't know if he's going to go out on a limb and say something like that.
So just in case she sees this, I love all my animals.
Exactly.
Yes.
Do you have any time constraints or anything that,
No, I'm good. But you know what? Before we start, let me go grab a charger for my phone just to be safe. Give me 20 seconds, if that.
You're good. Take your time.
A charger and an attorney and maybe some papers.
An attorney. We could. Well, Craig Esherick could come in and be his
Good Lord.
Be his attorney.
Come on, Wendell.
Wex has glasses on. Wow.
Oh, I got some glasses somewhere. I can Wex out too.
You need glasses to be 5 feet away from your computer?
It's getting there.
So you can see far away but not close?
Yes.
Oh. John, same thing with you, huh?
Yes.
Of course, John's not 57.
Right.
John's had glasses since he was 20.
Exactly.
Is that a fact? I don't remember that at all.
Nah, about 25.
Close enough.
All right.
What's Gordon doing?
He's
Hurting the cat. I've already told you.
He told you he's corralling the cat.
All right, I'm back now. There.
Cool, man.
Go on.
Juiced up. I found charger.
Gordon, I thought you weren't wearing Nike and supporting Nike.
It's old gear that I got before I was the head coach, and it's the only thing that's clean.
Oh boy.
I didn't want to throw it away. Listen to this. You'll love this. The guy before me bought like 30 Nike golf shirts for the players. I said to the athletic director, it's a winter sport. Why are you buying the players golf shirts? They're not going to wear them until they're out of season. They're not going to wear them in season. The coaches will wear them in season. So we've got a whole closet. Mike, what size do you wear? Or should I not even ask that?
2X tall or 3X regular.
Oh, you and John are the same size.
That's going to be a tough.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to. I'll dig through the shirts. If I find one in there, it's all yours. We got like 30 shirts.
Right.
And
Wex, stand up and show off Gordon's. Proudly show off Gordon's. There we go. Oh,
Skyline.
which would be strange for Mike to wear because he's coaching in the Skyline Conference. That would be confusing to people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was like Scott had something to do with the conference. I didn't know.
It's his high school. I have some eligibility left.
Okay.
All right, let's get rocking and rolling. I'll count it down, and then anything that you don't want to talk about or later you want me to edit out, just let me know. We'll just grab the audio, and then it's no problem at all. So,
okay,
all right,
cool.
Let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. Gordon's going to the cat. Wex, what is with the back to school stuff?
Oh, you can't see. The kid's in like a whole outfit with like a mask and like gloves and eye goggles. Like it's not safe.
That was great.
It was very good.
I enjoyed him tremendously.
Good guy.
Great guy to have gone through that and, doing what he's doing, feeling comfortable in his own skin, to not worry about whether or not, he's at the Division I level or professional level, that he's fine doing girls high school and boys D3. Like that's just, I imagine it's hard for someone who played in the NBA and Division I basketball at that level for a lot of people, they couldn't do what he's doing.
Agree.
You mean because of their ego?
Yeah, because of their ego, or maybe because of their upbringing, or the cultural differences, or not wanting to have conversations with people different than yourself. But it seems like he's been on this path for a while now, since he went through this almost 10 years ago, or more than 10.
Yeah,
years.
maybe you reach a point of acceptance, where you're kind of able to kind of take what comes along, and these are the opportunities that have presented themselves to him, and why say no?
Well,
Maybe
like he said, his dad, even though he was very depressed after that whole period of time, obviously his dad had an influence on him, and I'm sure he took that with him. Not to speak for him, but that helped him in his later years after he was able to get through, and some of the tough times, and whoever the people were that helped him directly. Obviously, Carl Jung probably was not one of those people, but the Washington football team, John, Ron Rivera has cancer.
I know, it's very sad.
That's very sad. And Del Rio is probably going to assume a lot of the responsibilities now.
Yeah.
What about Alex Smith? I got to say, there's a lot of things going on out there, the NBA, the bubble, the unknown situation with the NCAA. But Alex Smith's story, 18 surgeries, just his, like kid in a candy store reaction to being back out on the football field. People have said that his injury was worse than Theismann's. Man, if he is deemed the starter or, even just makes the roster, what an incredible story, a San Diego product from out here at Helix High School. Just amazing.
18 surgeries is about 15 surgeries more than a lot.
Did you see some of the video?
It was brutal.
On his leg.
It's ugly.
And just what it looks like and the range of motion that he had to work on. And, oh, my God, it's unbelievable what he's been through. And he still wants to play. Like, how long has he been playing? What is he, 36? He's the same.
He came out in 2004.
So, yeah, he's got to be about 36.
Yeah.
God, just unbelievable. I wish him the best of luck. And, the Redskins are a mess, but
they're not the Redskins, Mike.
Yes, the Redskins.
No, let me.
The Washington football team.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to ask you guys.
That's right.
This occurs to me from the conversation with Coach Sweetney. He's killing it as a rookie, and the coach calls him into the office and tells him he's not playing.
Wow, I had no idea. That blew me away.
And further, when asked why, he said, because you have to pay your dues.
I don't think that would happen now.
Well, that coach was Don Chaney, and that was the last job he ever had. And he's the same guy that was the coach before the Houston Rockets won.
Was it Don Chaney or Herb Williams?
Don Chaney. Herb Williams was the assistant.
He took over after, I think.
Herb Williams
after, and then they hired Wilkins.
Right.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Wilkins.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I just wondered. I'm just trying to conceptualize it. Me as a coach, like when I look at talent, I'm looking at the best possible guys I can put on the floor, regardless of any circumstances, that can help us be successful.
Well, that's why the Knicks have been a disaster since Dolan took over for whatever reason, and unlucky. And even when they were lucky, and they had Porzingis, they traded him for a Coke and a bag of chips.
Well, I mean, let's look at the 2000
or a Diet Coke in John's case.
Yes, actually, it's a Coke Zero. Let's look at the 2002-2003 Knicks roster.
Oh, I looked at this.
Shandon Anderson out of Georgia, Michael Doliak.
Wasn't Crawford on this team?
Who?
Crawford?
No, he wasn't there yet.
He was the next year.
Oh, Othella. Hold on. Harrington. Let's see.
Okay, John,
Bert
you stopped reading.
Travis Knight. Gordon, your favorite player of all time, Lee Nalen.
No, Michael Doliak is my favorite player of all time.
Oh, God.
And the ever popular Clarence Witherspoon.
Oh, boy. They had some of the worst rosters when he was there. I didn't get a chance to ask him how it was to be in training camp with Doc Rivers when he was there with the big three. He got cut both times, but I would have liked to know how it was.
He also got to play with Vin Baker, Anthony Hardaway, DeMar Johnson, Stephon Marbury, Antonio McDyess, Nazi Muhammad, Dikembe Mutombo,
just stop.
Bucci Norris.
This roster is terrible.
There's a couple guys you're reading off that are on my all names team.
Tim Thomas, Keith Van Horn.
Oh.
It's like you're all who's who waiver line.
Yeah, it's like the Seattle Mariners in the 90s.
Yeah.
So what other topics do you guys want to touch on? Keep it sort of brief just because the interview
I
think
the
long.
disaster that is Major League Baseball. The Mets and Yankees had to cancel 2 games this weekend.
More games canceled.
The Cardinals have played a whopping, 10 games this year?
Yeah. Well, if they're not going to have an unofficial bubble, I've been saying this all along and nothing has changed. And the NCAA, these conferences are talking about having sort of bubble tournaments. So, for example, on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'd have 3 games with teams in your demographic area, and you'd only drive there the day of, and you drive back afterwards, and you'd sort of be in an unofficial bubble. And so you'd have 2 or 3 weekends of this. You'd get 6 or 9 non-conference games, and then you'd start your conference games in January and sort of go from there. But
I think, Mike, I agree with you.
It's not going to work. And I think these colleges stopping on-campus classes is going to help everyone.
Right. I agree.
Carolina, Notre Dame,
Right.
all these places that were naive enough to think that they could open their classrooms face to face.
I think the thing with baseball, what is there going to be 16 teams in the playoffs, right?
Right. They added teams. Yeah.
Right. I think those teams have to play in a bubble because you can't be in the middle of a playoff and a whole team comes down with it.
Not with the number of games that baseball plays. They
Right.
play every day. It's not like football. You can have a week and a half off.
Right.
Just a disaster. So, like Mike said in the interview, we're going to have to wait and see on some of this stuff. But the NBA bubble's been fun. The injury to Doncic and Damian Lillard, I think that – I don't think they were going to win anyways. I know you guys were hyped up on Portland, but I don't think the Lakers had taken their game to the next level. 2 Hall of Famers, 2 top 5 guys in the NBA. You're crazy if you think Portland.
Whatever. Have I made it clear how much I dislike stand in space?
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Is there any offense remaining in that league?
No.
I mean, I know it works. I know it works well for people who train individual play, Mike. But
yes,
I
like the game the way it is. I wish there was a little bit more movement.
No, there's no movement.
Pick and rolls.
There's no movement. There's not. It's getting to the point where I actually crave a pick and roll, and you know how I feel about pick and roll basketball. I mean, all it is guys come down the floor. They're 18 feet apart, which is great. And one guy tries to break his guy down. If that doesn't work out well, he pitches it, and that guy either shoots a 3 or he tries to break his guy down off the dribble. And there's no movement. There's no passing. There's no screening. There's no backdoor movement. There's no post
skill.
Movement.
It's all skill. Nobody's debating that. It's all skill. It's like if you don't have
no, it's not. It's not all skill. Those are basketball skills. They've been basketball skills since the 1860s or whenever Dr. Naismith invented the game, and they're still part of the game.
Well, when Seth Curry, the 100th best player in the NBA, is going off, that just shows you how deep the league is in terms of skills.
Well,
is that what it shows you?
But Mike, look how well Ball's playing for the Nuggets.
Right.
The 44th pick, the kid's going off. And you know why? Because there's no one who can guard him. There's no centers anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going off because everybody's standing around watching?
Combination. Everybody listen, can't – yeah.
Movement's already difficult to defend. A couple of years of this, and any team that runs any kind of movement is going to be very successful.
How much movement guys are going to get used to? They're going to cross half court with 14 seconds left.
Guys are going to get used to moving 2 feet on defense and swiveling their head twice before they get a rebound and go the other way. That's what they're going to get used to. That's how they're going to be conditioned.
You didn't like Dallas's guard who took it on the fast break on a 2-on-1 and did a rondo.
I don't mind. Nothing wrong with a fast break. I don't mind fast break basketball. I'm not saying everybody should come down and take the wind out of it. I'm just saying if you're going to play in the half court, then you should have a robust offense.
How much movement can you get in 16 seconds when you cross half court?
I don't know, but how much standing around can you get?
Well, I think there has to be a little bit of balance, but I don't know how much movement you can get in 15 seconds.
You can't call what's happening now a little bit of balance.
No, it's gone.
It's
in the
boring.
complete other direction.
Boring. I used to complain about Shaq and Kobe, all respect, with that ISO shit where 3 guys would go on the other side of the floor and those guys would work post and perimeter. I crave that. That to me would be a step up from this.
Well, I disagree. I think the game is.
I'm glad. Now I know I'm right.
And it's in good hands, I think.
It's in horrible hands.
What do you think, John?
I just think it's too much, But this, it's gonna sway back because there'll be a big guy that will dominate, and then it will be like what Tim Duncan. Bring Tim Duncan. If there's another high school Tim Duncan out there, he joins the league. You put him in the league, he dominates, and then someone will have to match up with him.
I mean, Mike Sweetney would score 40 points a night in this kind of spread.
I disagree.
But if he didn't have an outside shot, they wouldn't put him in the game.
No, there's no way.
Right.
So, did you guys see that story on LaMelo Ball in I think it was ESPN.com? It was very interesting.
I've heard of him. Didn't his father have a shoe thing?
Yeah, that worked out.
Alonzo Ball's his brother, and he's in the NBA, obviously. But it was very interesting to read about his evolution in overseas and potential number 1 pick. And if he goes to Minnesota, it's going to be the same thing all over again. I think with his dad, he's going to he's going to lose his mind, even though he's been quiet for a while about the fact that he can't end up in
Who has the second pick?
The Warriors.
He'll end up going there.
Well, yeah, or him or Anthony
No
Edwards
way.
from Georgia.
No way. There's no way he goes to Golden State.
Oh, can you imagine him in Golden State? Wow.
No way.
Well, if Minnesota knows that he doesn't want to go there and they take Anthony Edwards from Georgia.
Well, Minnesota has D'Angelo Russell. They got him to a long-term deal. You can't both of them.
Well, that he got the worst of the luck because whoever's going to go there, he's tradable now. Because they'll be healthy next year. Oh, God. Okay, anything else for the good of the cause? Gordon, last week you touched on the WNBA. Anything else that you wanted to talk about with regards to them? Brittany Griner's left the bubble for personal reasons. It was announced today. She was a leading scorer for the Phoenix Mercury. And so they're getting ready to conclude their regular season. And no positive cases yet with them or the NBA for 6 weeks now. So, that's been remarkable, I think. And, we're just sort of in a wait and see with the NFL. We could talk about, who the favorites are, but there's just too many unknowns with COVID and, new destinations for players like Brady, and New England. Who's going to be a starting quarterback there, still up in the air.
Well, so Mike, I think
it's going to be interesting with the NFL.
Well, I think the big story going back to college is if 3 more of the Big 5 end up not playing, and then for whatever reason, if the NCAA was had to not do another basketball tournament, I think you would see the elimination of college athletics like you've never seen before.
Well, it's happening. There's 4 sports being eliminated here. There's it's just not getting the traction because of everything else that's going on.
Right.
So the NFL, is doing well with their positive cases. So they're a really small percentage, and so we'll just see what happens when they start traveling.
Right. And actually having contact. No one's touching anybody.
Exactly, and they're just doing scrimmages within their own organizations.
Right.
So, but I'm definitely interested to see. I don't think they should be playing, but I mean, what choice do you have, other than to shut it all down and fiscally, it's not possible.
I think you still have to kind of ask both questions. Should they be playing?
No.
And to finish out the thought, why not?
Because as you're seeing, these athletes, predominantly African-American, many of them very large size. You can define it as obese or overweight, but they're
talking about linemen and so forth.
Right, are very susceptible to picking this up at a much higher rate than the general public.
And we don't know the long-term effects.
Right. And
which means we don't know if there are long-term effects.
But they're choosing to play. They've said that they feel safeguards are in place.
No, I just wanted to walk the thing through logically, sort of from beginning to end. They shouldn't play because they're large, overweight, at higher risk.
They're at a higher risk, and we don't know what it would take to make it safe for play.
If they knew back 30 years ago about the concussion situation that has transpired since in the last 5 years, do you think that players would still play if they knew what they knew about concussions the way that we know about COVID now?
Would people still smoke?
Well, smoking's gone down since 1990 in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but the answer is yes.
It went up for 40 years. It went up for 40 years.
Understand, but you didn't ask that. You didn't ask which direction would usage go. You asked, would people still play? And yes, they would still play.
So why is it not
as many?
Yeah, well, how many players have opted out already?
I don't know the answer to that.
5 dozen?
I don't know the answer to that.
5 dozen have already opted out.
But what does that mean?
Well, it means that if
you're talking about
in the NFL
issue.
Well, if they have the choice to opt out and the other guys want to play, whether it's financial reasons or, they think it's worth the risk,
right?
Then who are we to say that they shouldn't be playing?
No, I get it. They're opting out because they are convinced that they're at risk. Would I? Would I play? Yeah. No, I would not.
John, would you play?
No.
Would you play in the basketball bubble or
in the bubble? Yes. And what NCAA has laid out? No.
Yeah, but I don't think you can go by us. I mean,
Right.
that doesn't mean we're right.
No, I didn't say I was right.
So these linemen, just want to get back to John's case. They're overweight, maybe obese. They're linemen. They're at higher risk, and therefore they are potential fatalities.
Yes.
And yet we haven't had any. We haven't had any fatalities that I'm aware of.
Well, we didn't know about the effects of concussions until 25 years later, and half the Pittsburgh Steelers defense had killed themselves.
I get it,
but Gordon, players.
Hang on, John. Hold the thought. That's a little different, Mike, because concussions you don't get from other players. It's not a contagion that you pass from one person to the next. It comes from a very particular trauma. This doesn't. This you can get walking past a guy in a hallway. So it's a little different, but I get your point. Go ahead, John.
There's a player, the starting quarterback the starting star recruit at Georgia State,
right?
Has come down with COVID and a heart ailment associated, and a player at Baylor, and that's what we know about.
Okay.
And the player from Georgia State has opted out of the season,
which he should.
Right. Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I was watching Loyola Marymount games from the 90s. I love watching them run up and down and shoot the ball in 3 or 4 seconds. And
you just said that you can't stand the NBA, and that's what they're doing. And this is what
I can't stand the NBA. No, they're not. I didn't say running up and down. I said stand in space. I don't like watching 5 guys stand around while one guy plays. That's not a team sport. Anyway,
sorry to interrupt.
Hank Gathers, right? Hank Gathers had a heart condition. Right. Ultimately, he passed. Right, but he knew he had a heart condition. He's not the only guy who's had a heart condition who played, and there are probably lots of guys in competitive athletics who have conditions. Some of them we know about, some of them maybe we don't. Right?
Well, and doctors know more about it now, anyways.
Sure. So I was just trying to figure it out. Like, really, what do we know what right or wrong is?
I just think it's a personal choice. I mean, I don't know if I would do it, but for basketball, I definitely would. Baseball, I would have. And football, there's no way. But for college basketball, unless it's an unofficial bubble within a bubble, and there hasn't been any positive tests within a week before the games, and you're not driving to the games the same day, I'd probably say no.
And what would it take to change your mind? What would it take to get you to yes?
To opt out?
No, to play.
No, that's what I'm saying.
What would the conditions have to be for either of you or both of you to say, okay, it has my blessing?
For which sport?
Let's play. Pick one. Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, football is the one. Football is the one that I would.
Vaccine.
Say.
Okay, with 36% effectiveness?
No.
75%.
That's unlikely. I mean, the flu shot is 36%.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike, you feel the same way? Vaccine?
Yeah, it has to be at least 75%. But I would still say there should be an unofficial bubble or a bubble. I mean, baseball, the baseball players have gone in on each other if they're not following some of these rules that the organizations have put in place to unofficially abide by, as to not put their teammates at risk. So they're doing bubbles but some of these guys are obviously not adhering to the pressure of their teammates.
Right, because there's varying levels of belief, right? The guys who are adhering believe strongly, they're on the same page, and the guys who don't. I mean, it's like an offense.
Any final thoughts on the NBA?
You cut me off.
Yeah, that's enough of that. Any final thoughts on the NBA or NHL playoffs? Probably not.
No one cares about hockey.
Nobody cares about hockey.
Brett Brown will be fired before he hits the locker room after they get swept.
Pick whoever you want to blame for his firing. Everybody on the broadcast, Van Gundy, everybody says he's a great guy, and he's gone from 10 wins to a lot of wins. But the reality is, they traded what's his name to Miami, Butler.
They traded the wrong guy. You don't keep Tobias Harris. He's a dumpster fire. He's a black hole. Ball goes in, never comes out. He plays matador defense. He would have fit on great on the old Michigan teams.
Who would you keep, Embiid or Ben Simmons?
Oh, Embiid. Ben Simmons. I have no use for a guard who doesn't like to take free throws and can't shoot a three. Most overrated player in the NBA by far.
Yeah, well, Embiid's
I would package Ben Simmons.
Always injured too, and now Simmons is injured. So,
well, I would package Simmons and Tobias Harris for whatever you could get and get them the hell out of town.
Yeah, you're not going to get anything for those guys at this point. draft picks. That's all you're going to get. Yeah, please cover up his face. Any other observations with the NBA, college sports, the NFL, WNBA? Anything else going on? Observations about Mike?
I like Mike.
Mike's very good. Good people.
Mike made my day.
Yeah, he was really genuine and on a good path. I was happy for him more than anything.
Agreed.
Cool.
Everybody should register to vote. By the way,
Please vote.
Yes, we want to make sure we mention that every one of our podcasts leading up to the November elections.
Find out where a Dropbox is near your house.
Right.
Stand in line.
Here's the
Whatever
thing.
it takes.
Vote.org. Vote.
The other thing-
www.vote.org.
So the people out there, in addition to mailing, you may actually be able to vote a month ahead of time at certain places. So you can go in, grab a ballot, and vote very quickly without a lot of people. So you don't have, it's not mail in or just go show up at the voting day. So there could be one or the others. And then to people under the age of 60 who may be in good health, encourage you to call and volunteer to work at a voting area, because many of the old people that traditionally do that are not going to be able to because of they're susceptible to get COVID.
Right.
So you're trying to find me a job. Is that what you're trying to say? I should get some extra work on the side.
Yeah. Well, the state of Washington is not a swing state. So we'd like you to please go to the state of Arizona to drive over there and work a poll, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.